New York apartments are insane. They are full of surprises, some good and some not so good. And after living here for 30 months, it's time for me to move on. But before I go, I want to give you guys a quick tour of this place that I called home for so long and show you the things that I love, things that I hated, and things that I learned along the way.
Don't wanna meditate, girl, with you it's hard.
I figured I'd start off in a room that maybe some of you are familiar with if you are watching my videos for a little while now. And if you are not, and if you're not subscribed, sorry, I gotta do the shameless plug, please consider subscribing, it would mean a lot. This is my room. This is my 11 by 12 foot box that I call home, for at least my bedroom. Let me stick it in there. Yeah, I've rearranged this room countless times trying to find the optimal setup because again, it's a box, it's a small box, at least by like suburban or other city standards. So you gotta maximize the space when possible. And I think I finally found what I like, of course only to move. One of the things I'm going to miss the most about this room is the light. During the day, sunlight floods in and makes everything feel open and bright, and at night, the city lights take over, giving the room a whole different vibe. My desk facing the perfect view while I worked, but honestly, nothing beats laying in bed, watching TV, and seeing the city skyline right outside my window. It's not the biggest space, but over time, I found a layout that worked for me, and that's what living in NYC is all about, making the most of every square inch. Now, I've talked about my windows a decent bit now, and these are, I think, probably one of my favorite things about this apartment. And it lets in so much light. Like today's a bit of a cloudy day, but you can still tell it's still relatively bright. A lot of these things are great, but the one downside with these windows is that they're very thin. So in the winter, like now, it gets very cold in here. In the summer, it gets very hot. It's just really hard to control the temperature in here. So the heating and cooling bills definitely go up a little bit. Not only are these windows not well insulated for weather, but soundproofing kind of sucks too. This window in particular faces a very busy road and it can get very loud, and normally it's fine, you just kind of go with it, but when you're trying to sleep, you have an important work call, stuff like that, it can get kind of annoying. You just kind of like fight through the noise and chaos, especially when there's like sirens or trucks blaring their horns or like a tour bus is going by and people are like, woo, New York! Yeah, I mean, do your thing, tourists, but still, some of us, we gotta live, we gotta work here. To any keen observers, you might have noticed something looks off with this wall. Something's wrong. And first off, it doesn't go all the way to the ceiling. That is soundproofing up there. And this is what you call a flex wall, because I live in what you call a one flex apartment or one bedroom flex. And this is very common in New York because it's very expensive to get one bedroom or even a studio. So a lot of times you can find a roommate. And if you have a large one bedroom with a large living room, you can put up a wall and turn it into a proper two bedroom, because this wall is fake. It leads right out into the living room. And I will say, it's not that bad, but there is one really weird thing, and I'm missing something in this room, and I'm curious to see if you guys picked it up. Welcome to my closet. This is like my personal closet where I have my clothes. Like I have my jackets, I have some of my other shirts and whatnot that I have to hang. I have a little storage up here. But if you've noticed, it's not in my room. It's in the living room, right by the kitchen. And yeah, it is a bit strange. Just because this was a living room, there is no closet in there, so that kind of makes sense, but strange nonetheless. Prior to the flex wall going up, this apartment had really large and bright living room, and since then it's definitely gotten smaller and darker, but it's still extremely workable for us. We can both be in there at the same time, we can have friends over, we can have pre-games, and we are not cramped, which is fantastic. Unfortunately, we were unable to fit a full couch, but we did opt for these two IKEA chairs, and honestly, they've worked out incredibly well. And on top of that, we unfortunately did not have enough space for a table either, but our countertop does extend out far enough that we were able to put bar stools, so we were a-okay there. All right, let's talk about the kitchen. So my roommate and I, we do cook a decent bit. At least one of us is cooking at least one meal a day, and often it ends up being both of us in here at one time, and it is a good enough size to fit both of us, although it does get a little cramped. As you can see, we have a ton of counter space. This is a huge step up from our last place. We had way less space. It was like just the classic tiny New York City countertop. Our sink here is pretty deep, which is nice. We do have the dishwasher as well. and it is actually full size, which is very, very nice, because often in New York you'll get like the half size. Moving back here, we do have a full-size fridge, which is very nice. Our last place, we had a half-size fridge, which normally totally fine, but at the same time, if we both go grocery shopping at the same time, it would get a little tight. And a lot of times, even with studios and one bedrooms, you'll get like a mini fridge. I know easier said than done here, but try to avoid it if possible. It's not gonna be enjoyable. All right, and now over here, we do have our stove. This is a gas stove. First time actually having a gas stove for myself, so it's actually pretty nice. It's been fun to use. We do have our microwave too, and all in all, these things are relatively new. They've started to age a little bit. We actually had to get our microwave replaced because part of like the control panel died, but building was super on top of it, which was very nice. And yeah, all in all, no real complaints with these. One of the best things about this apartment was everything that was around it. The building itself had some solid amenities. We have a gym in building, of course not free, we do have to pay for it if we want to. It's about $40 per month. We also do have laundry in building, which if you know New York, that is a huge deal. And I think my absolute favorite thing was our roof deck. It had some insane views and I spent a lot of time up there. Moving away from the building itself, the surrounding area is the Flatiron Nomad area, and this area just has special meaning to me because my first internship was around here, my first job, and it's kind of like a home away from home. And having Madison Square Park in basically my backyard is incredible, and I love it so much, and I'm gonna miss it. And on top of that, we have a lot of great food. We have Italy around here, we have Koreatown, just a ton of other amazing restaurants, and on top of that, transportation is really easy. We have Herald Square nearby. We also have a ton of trains on Broadway, so getting around the city was easy as well. That's all, folks. That is my apartment, and by the time this video comes out, I probably should already be moving into my new place. I move in about a week, so I'm very excited. It's a little bittersweet to be leaving this place because I do love it, but at the same time, I am excited to be living on my own for the first time. And yeah, if you like New York City content, travel, photography stuff too, consider subscribing, dropping a like, commenting below, any questions you got, I'll be hanging around. And yeah, thanks for watching.